Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at McFarlane's DC Direct, The New Batman Adventures Catwoman. The New Batman Adventures is Season 4 of Batman the Animated Series, where the animation changed. I pre-ordered these for the McFarlane Toy Store. They arrived today, so let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, McFarlane Toys, Catwoman, ages 12 plus. The New Batman Adventures, here's the Bat family. Here's Catwoman in the package. Looks like she has 8 hands. Her cat Isis, an animation cell replica, and display stand. One side of the package, Catwoman. Other side says Catwoman. At the bottom, there's her barcode. And on the back, here she is posed up. So no further ado, let's open her up. And of course, I did get 2 of these Catwoman figures. One of which to open and enjoy, the other one to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. And here's McFarlane's version of this Catwoman, next to the DC Collectibles version from almost 10 years ago. And I did pre-order this entire wave off the McFarlane Toy Store. Between the bundle discount and the fact that I redeemed the digital codes off the McFarlane DC Multiverse digital wave, even though I don't care anything about them, that gave me a coupon code to save 50% off these guys, so I got them for a pretty fair price. And here's the full set of these figures, next to the full set from almost 10 years ago by DC Collectibles. Looks like not a lot of differences, but we'll check that out in the video. Although I see a couple of missing accessories off the bat. Alright, now that we have this figure out of the package, here she is with all of her accessories laid out. She's got a display stand, an animation cell reproduction, 6 alternate hands totaling 8 interchangeable hands, and then her cat Isis. She is missing a whip that the original release came with, and honestly, McFarlane, you cheap bastards, I cannot believe you did not include her whip. You included this animation cell reproduction that I guarantee not one person in the entire world wants or cares about, but you did not include the whip? Maybe because you spent so much on this mold. Oh wait, you spent nothing on it because DC Direct made this 10 years ago and you're simply re-releasing what they already did. So, I'm not bitter at all about the whip, but that is such a dumb thing to not include. It's not a gun. They definitely could include the whip. She even includes gripping hands that are specifically for the whip. Okay, I'll get off the subject now. So this is Catwoman from the New Batman Adventures, which is Season 4 of Batman the Animated Series, where they completely changed the animation style, and I'd say pretty much every single character looks significantly worse in the New Batman Adventures. Catwoman is no exception. She's got sort of pale white skin, which makes no sense at all. She's oddly proportioned with a giant head, small body. I'm not really a fan of this figure. A lot of the females in this line are so little, so brittle, etc., and I don't understand why they cost more than their 7-inch counterparts. So let's take a look. Catwoman's real name is Selina Kyle. She's typically a cat burglar, a thief, but she helps Batman quite a bit too. So, here she is. Giant head, white eyes, cat ears sticking out, big giant smile on her face, and her skin has sort of a blue tone to it. She must put makeup on, I guess. That's really odd, because that should be flesh tone there. As we go further down, the body's really small and really thin. Used to be a lot of breakage issues on the older ones. Single jointed knees, single jointed elbows. Everything is just so thin. And she's just oddly proportioned. The head is way oversized, the legs are way undersized. Just not a fan of this design. I think this type of design looks better in animation, and it doesn't translate that well to action figure form. Some of the designs translate very well, but these really thin ones just don't make that good of figures. And a closer look at her face and head sculpt. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as she can go, with all of her removable parts detached. When I removed her hands, it felt very sturdy. I feel like McFarlane uses better plastic, and they're less brittle. I've not had a single breakage issue on a McFarlane re-release of the anime figures, but they usually have a worse paint job. Way too glossy and missing certain details that the originals had. Now let's check out her accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. Here's the animation cell reproduction. It's an image of Catwoman in Gotham City. The New Batman Adventures. On the back side, it has a little cardboard thing you can punch out and display it like a picture frame. It's from the episode You Scratch My Back from Season 1, Episode 5. I guess they're calling it Season 1 of the New Batman Adventures, but it's really Season 4 of Batman the Animated Series. Drop me a line in the comments below if anybody actually cares about this accessory. I'm guessing that nobody does. I sure don't. It's going to go sit there on my shelf of my comics, never be seen again. I would much rather them not include this and include something else like, I don't know, maybe a whip. Here's our display stand. It comes in 3 separate pieces. One put together, it's going to look like this. At the bottom, we have a base that says the New Batman Adventures, then a post that goes to the top and has a clamp that'll help hold your figure. Now, I'm not a fan of display stands, but I'm not going to lie, this Catwoman is one of the harder figures to stand up in this line. Now let's look at her hands. She has a total of 8 of them, 4 right hands and 4 left hands. Here she is with her first pair of hands. These are her fists. Here she is with her second pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands with a larger grip. And her next pair of hands. This is another pair of gripping hands with a smaller grip. These are intended to hold the whip that she does not come with. And here's her final pair of hands. This is a pair of default hands. They would look good relaxed at her sides. They could also be some scratching hands. And then here's her cat, Isis. Not only did all the characters get redesigned for Season 4, but even the animal Isis did too. Now it's a black cat, big wide eyes, it's got a red collar. The cat does have, I believe, 5 points of articulation. In fact, 6. The head can rotate around. All the legs can go forward and back. And the tail, well, I guess that doesn't move, so it is 5 points. Still, pretty cool, nice little accessory. It does look very sort of cartoony. Here is the new version of Isis next to the old one. Exact same figure, exact same sculpt. Really, it's the same paint job, except the new one, which is this one, is much glossier than the old one. And a cat with its fur really wouldn't have glossy paint unless it's a really greasy cat. Now, I have the Isis from Batman the Animated Series. This is how she originally looked, a Siamese cat, and they kind of changed it to, I don't know, maybe it's still black Siamese cat, but it is 100% the same sculpt. All I did is add this collar, which is a separate piece, can move. So you have all 3 of these different Isis cats. And this came with the original Batman the Animated Series Catwoman. The one they released many years later that had the unmasked head did not come with Isis. So I've got 2 black Isis, 1 gray Isis. Now to check out the differences and similarities between the McFarlane re-release, which is on the left, and the original DC Direct version, which is on the right. And it is 100% the same figure, same sculpt, same articulation, just a slightly different paint job. So let's take a look. Look at the head here. The original one has a much more blue skin tone. The new one, a little more white, but still a hint of blue. Pretty much everything else is the same. Typically McFarlane has a glossier paint job, but they're very similar to the Catwoman figures. You can see in her forehead, it's a little glossier, but not that big of a deal. Should be some sort of spandex, leather outfit anyway on Catwoman. No other differences besides that little bit of skin tone. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the figure and her accessories, let's check out her height. From bottom to the top of her head, standing right about 5.1 inches tall, which can translate to 13 centimeters. And if we go to the top of the ears, about 5.3 inches tall. Now, she's about 5 inches tall in a 6-inch scale line. That means Catwoman, Selina Kyle, should be 5 feet tall. I don't recall her being very short. Long story short, this figure is way shorter than she should be. And for the articulation, starting with her head, of course, going to rotate side to side. She can look up and down, not very much. Can't tilt her head. Pretty much just rotation at that point. And she can look down the tiniest bit. That's about it. Shoulders on a ball joint, they go out less than 90 degrees. Up, down, around. Single jointed elbow with rotation. Her wrist can rotate, and it is hinged. Her torso and waist, one solid piece. Legs complete as splits, but it looks hideous when you do it like that. They go forward pretty far, back not much. Single jointed knee, and then her ankle. Forward and back, tiniest little feet, and that is it. You can't tilt rock or anything. Here's a look at Catwoman in her apartment, surrounded by cats, stolen jewels, cat trophies, etc. Now let's check her out. Next is with our action figures. Starting off with some of our DC Direct animated figures. Here's McFarlane's re-release, next to the original DC Direct, the new Batman Adventures Catwoman figure. And here she is, next to the original Batman the Animated Series Catwoman. This is from Wave 1 of DC Direct. And man, this thing was fragile. She's broken in so many places. glued together. I know they did a re-release later that was pinless and was sturdier. Unfortunately, that's not the one that I got. And then, next to McFarlane's release of the Batman the Animated Series Catwoman, this is one that's cel-shaded and came with the unmasked Selina Kyle head. This one is not broken at all, a lot sturdier than the original release. And I can see it's pinless. And now, next to the old Kenner Batman the Animated Series Catwoman, much smaller figure, can barely stand up, she's leaning so far back. Now Mattel made a smaller, more basic version of the new Batman Adventures Catwoman, but I don't have any of those, at least not open. Here's Catwoman next to the rest of her wave. These are all based off the new Batman Adventures. None of these are cel-shaded, and they're not exclusive to any particular retailer. We have Nightwing, Catwoman, Bane, and the Joker. I would say Catwoman is my least favorite of this wave, followed by Nightwing. He's not quite as small as her, but his legs are so thin, he shares the same flaws. Then the Joker, a little bit taller, looks better, but has some mismatching plastics on his legs, but he does come with a really cool hyenas. And I'd say Bane is my favorite, as he's the biggest, and as much as I'm not really a huge fan of the new Batman Adventures version of Bane, he's definitely the best in this wave. And then here she is, next to the first wave of the new Batman Adventures figures. Just like her wave, none of them are cel-shaded, none of them are exclusive. We have Two-Face, Baby Doll and Croc, Batman, and then both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Batgirl. I'm actually really surprised that Catwoman's wave didn't have a Platinum Chase variant at all. I was sure it was going to be Catwoman in a purple suit. Then, next to the Best Buy exclusive 3-pack. Dark Knight Returns, Batman, Carrie Kelly Robin, and the Mutant Leader. These are also based off the new Batman Adventures, but a very specific episode called Legends of the Dark Knight. Look at these guys. I mean, look how big Batman is next to Catwoman. These are literally supposed to be the same action figure line. Just saying. In turn, look at Carrie Kelly, about the same size as Catwoman, and Batman and Mutant Leader are very stylized in Dark Knight Returns, and even more so stylized in this episode. And now, with McFarlane's most recent Batman the Animated Series wave. This is based off Batman the Animated Series, which is before the new Batman Adventures. These are cel-shaded, and these are Target exclusive. We have Riddler, Joker, Batman, Commissioner Gordon, both regular and platinum, collector build, lockup. Now the next wave, the Maxi Zeus wave, that's starting to show up at Targets now. I hope mine ships from their website soon. And finally, next to McFarlane's Batman Beyond offerings, we have Old Man Bruce Wayne, Terry McGinnis Batman, and Ace the Bat Hound. Terry McGinnis Batman shares some of the flaws that Catwoman does. Too small, tiny, brittle, and under-articulated. Now stick around, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how she fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you know which lines you can mix it with. Since she's a DC Direct animated figure, I'm going to start with my comparisons with some of the smaller action figure lines I collect, and work my larger, and I'm going to include as many Catwoman figures as I can during these comparisons. Here she is, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures, and some SH Figure Arts action figures. And Jazzwares and SH Figure Arts are the smallest things I collect, and look just how much smaller she is than those. And now, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends, and Mafex Catwoman figures. Here's a Catwoman figure, next to a couple of cans of cat food. And here she is, next to some Mattel and Mezco Catwoman figures. Then, with both some Jazzwares and Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some NECA and DC Direct Catwoman figures. Next, with some Diamond Select toys and Jack-specific wrestling figures. And finally, with some McFarlane DC Multiverse Catwoman figures. So overall, I would say this is a crappy Catwoman figure. She is way too small, way too skinny, way too brittle. She's missing accessories. The paint job is inferior, even though slightly, to the first release. She's supposed to be a 6-inch scale figure, and she's super small. I mean, look at just... whatever. I'll stop beating this dead horse with a stick. Long story short, I'm not a fan of this figure. Her articulation sucks, her accessories suck, and her scale sucks. I also don't like the design of the new Batman Adventures nearly as much as Batman the Animated Series. If I were to rate this figure, I'm going to give her a 4 out of 10. It just doesn't do much for me. And I knew that, because I had the old one from many years ago. But, of course, I'm still going to get the re-releases and the different versions, because that's just what I do. But, unless you really like this figure, stay away from it. It is garbage. So this is D. Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you real soon.